Welcome to Busch Stadium in downtown St. Louis. It's the rubber game between the St. Louis Cardinals and the New York Mets. These two teams with the best records in the National League. Sold out crowd expected this afternoon. It was sold out last night. And Mark Mulder improved to 5-1. One of the best pitching performances we have seen on the year. Mulder was sharp all the way through the ninth. And that's when he ran into a little bit of trouble. Bases loaded, one out. And Jason Isringhausen would come in and try to pick up his 12th save. First man he sees, third baseman David Wright, one of their dangerous hitters in their lineup. He got him striking out. Next man, Cliff Floyd. Great power, having an off year. He grounds out to Albert Pujols, and Isringhausen picks up his 12th save of the season, and Mulder goes to 5-1. With my partner Albert Bosky, I'm Dan McLaughlin. That's about as high drama as you can get last night. What a job by Isringhausen.
Well, it was a lot of fun, and I know there's a lot of people that still are not sure about Izzy, but I think he dispelled some of that myth, and he proved that he's equal to the task. That was an outstanding game. Both starting pitchers were brilliant. Mulder a little bit better, and then Izzy with that 12th save. It was a great team win.
So as Mulder last night, he goes to 5-1, and today it is Jason Marquis, the New York native. You can see what he's done on the road and also here at home, and he's coming off a very good start last time out.
Well, and he's got to pick it up here at home. There's no reason. The ball club's winning most of the games here at home. This is the rubber game, and so you like to win this series. The Cardinals have not lost a series at home.
So it's game number 3 this afternoon. This wraps up this long homestand here in St. Louis. Afternoon baseball here at Busch Stadium. It'll be Jason Marquis going for the St. Louis Cardinals against Jose Lima. We'll talk about Lima time when we come back on FSN. Game number 3 between the Cardinals and the Mets this afternoon on FSN. Jose Lima 0-2 against Jason Marquis. He has a record at 500. He is 4-4. And now when you talk about Jose Lima, and he's visiting right there with Pedro Martinez, you're going to get a little flair out there and a guy that pitches with emotion, something you know an awful lot about.
Well, and he also is trying to find out a way to get people out. He's got 0-2. He's got the ERA over 9, and Pedro trying to help him a little bit. Fingertip pressure, very important, and it's very important with that middle and first finger to be able to repeat. You know, sometimes you can throw a pitch, but you don't know how to repeat it. Those two fingertip pressures are really kind of send a message to your brain, and you kind of teach you how to repeat that pitch if you make a good one.
All right, it is Lima against Jason Marquis this afternoon. It's a gorgeous day here in downtown St. Louis. Baseball just around the corner here on FSN. Out between the Mets and the Cardinals, the rubber game between these two teams. New York native Jason Marquis making his 9th start of the season today, his 17th career appearance against the New York Mets, and his 10th start against a team that he grew up watching. 4-3 with a 3.66 ERA in his career against New York. And the first pitch at 12-10 to Jose Reyes is a ball by the Cardinal right-handed hurler Jason Marquis. .70 degrees our game time temperature. Jose Reyes, Jose Valentin, and Carlos Beltran for New York in their half of the first.
Well, Jason receives the lowest amount of run support of the Cardinal starters, but a very interesting stat. Opposing batters are batting 0 in the first inning in his 4 wins. And yet they're batting .474 in the opening inning of his 4 defeats. So you can almost tell right off the get-go whether he's going to have an easy day of it or not.
Last time out, 7 innings, gave up 3 hits and 1 run. The 9-1 win against Arizona was in that game, though, Al. It kind of went against the trend for Marquis. Got off to a sluggish start, but then really settled in as the Cardinals opened up a big lead.
Yeah, the first couple innings, if you would have thought he was going to have a 7-inning outing with only 3 hits allowed, you would have gotten a lot of takers.
That is pulled to Scott Spiezio. Race to the bag. He wins it. Spiezio filling in for Albert Pujols today. He's got the afternoon off. We take a look at the Mets lineup brought to you by Southwest Airlines. Reyes, Valentin, and Beltran here in the first. Delgado, the cleanup man, then Wright, Floyd. Floyd is off to a terrible start, hitting under 200. Castro, Chavez, and Lima, the pitcher, batting ninth for the New York Mets. Scott Spiezio, good backhanded play. He's a guy that is so versatile right now for Tony La Russa. Can play first base, can play second. He thought he was going to have to make the team as a second baseman. Can play third. He was filling in for Scott Rowland when he was out with his sickness. Also can play left, and he can play right, and he's a switch hitter. He's done a good job.
Yeah, he's played a couple years at first base as a starter, a couple years at third, a couple at second, and played all the outfield positions.
It's 2 balls and no strikes. Again, Marquis falling behind on the second baseman, Jose Valentin. Marquis split a pair of decisions against New York last season. Dropped a 2-0 decision to Tom Glavine a year ago. That was at Shea Stadium, and he wanted Bush. Foul territory. Scott Rowland is there for round number 2. Defense behind Marquis this afternoon brought to you by Auto Tire. Rodriguez, Edmonds, Encarnacion in the outfield. Rowland, Eckstein, Miles, and Spiezio on the infield. See what Marquis has done in his 9 career starts against New York. And Gary Bennett, another start. He's behind the plate. The Auto Tire defense. And here's Carlos Beltran. A shift is on for Beltran when he hits from this side of the plate. See how far that Scott Rowland is off the line at third base. Spiezio near the line at first. Outfield shades him just a bit to pull. Not much. Again, Marquis falls behind. The 1-0 pitch is taken for ball 2, 2-0. Beltran is hitting .257. 9 home runs, 23 driven in on the year.
He's hit a native his last 12 games at a .277 clip, but on this road trip, under 200.
A breezy day here at the ballpark. Fans still filing in. Gorgeous. 2-1 the count. Cardinals wrapping up this long homestand. It's off to Kansas City following the ball game this afternoon.
How about when we come home, all the seats will be opened up here at the New Busch. And talking about May 29th against Houston, a 3:15 start, there are 300 tickets available to the pavilion box.
Here's a 3-1 pitch. Popped up on the infield. David Eckstein will call for it. Wind playing tricks with that one. That was hit a mile high. Good inning for Marquis. Cardinals coming up in their half of the first here in St. Louis. Take a look at the Cardinals lineup brought to you by Southwest Airlines. Eckstein, Rodriguez, and Rowland hitting in this first inning. Then Edmonds is the cleanup man today. Albert Pujols, of course, is sitting this one out. Spiezio is the first baseman batting fifth. Encarnacion, then Bennett, Miles, and Marquis. Rodriguez, 318 here at home during this 9-game homestand. Rico delivers us Jose Lima, the starter for the Mets.
Signed as a minor league free agent with the Mets. Started the season at AAA Tidewater and could be his final start. 0-2, really struggled. Basically is a fastball changeup type pitcher. The problem is now is that fastball and that changeup are not much differential.
1 ball, 1 strike on David Eckstein. You think about all the hits in this lineup, and you First man you think about is Pujols, but Eckstein has been swinging the bat very well, especially here at home as he leads it off with a base hit. He's now hitting 370 plus here at Busch Stadium. That's third best in the National League. The Auto Tire defense, Floyd, Beltran, and Chavez in the outfield. Wright, young third baseman, he's a good one. 7 errors this season, 5th most though by third baseman in the National League. Jose Reyes, another young player on the left side of the infield. Valentin, Delgado on the right side. Ramon Castro is behind the plate. And here's John Rodriguez.
And hopefully the Cardinals can jump out early in this rubber game of the series.
John comes in hitting 391 overall, 389 when he starts. This is his 17th start on the year. And he's 4 for 10 off the bench. He's put up very good numbers. And against right-handed pitching, more times than not, it's going to be John Rodriguez who gets that start in left and hits in front of Albert Pujols. I want to think about testing Ramon Castro here, Al, with Albert Pujols not in the lineup. Let's see how aggressive Tony La Russa will be with his number 1 and number 2 man in this lineup.
Well, I think that's what you do, is you put pressure on the opposition. Even at the big league level, a lot of times the defense will succumb to that pressure.
Jose Lima was outstanding against the Cardinals in postseason play when he was with the Dodgers. It was back in 2004 of the division series. 4-0 shutout in Game 3, and the Cardinals would win that series in 4 games.
Pitcher's responsibility, keep that runner close, give his catcher a chance, and if you do that, Castro has thrown out 3 of 5 base stealers.
Rodriguez grounds it to the right side. Good play though made by Valentin. Moving up on the play is David Eckstein. He's in scoring position now for Scott Rowland. A long way to go from second base where he was.
Wasn't hit real hard, kind of rolled over there, so it allowed Valentin to get in front of it, spin, make the throw. A difficult play, but the veteran made it with ease. Did advance the runner, but let's see if Scott Rowland can drive him in like he did last night.
Only RBI in the game. Cardinals would win it 1-0. You can't talk enough about the job that Jason Isringhausen did in the ninth. Here in Booze, here at the ballpark earlier this season, and he has turned that around very quickly. Before it's all said and done, he'll be the saves leader here in franchise history. There's a base hit for Scott Rowland, out to center. Eckstein being waved in. Throw from Beltran is going to be cut off. Now it comes through, gets away from the catcher all the way to the backstop. And Scott Rowland delivers here in the first, and it's 1-0.
Bad decision by Beltran to try and throw home, and Scott Rowland, aware of it, saw the high throw, puts himself in scoring position. Set up away, look at the ball just up right out there, hit it right towards the end of the bat. So it wasn't going to carry all the way to center field. Another RBI for Scott, his 20th, and the Cardinals get the lead. Saw Eckstein had to hold to make sure it got over the shortstop, and with a high throw, it allowed Scotty to get into scoring position himself.
Now it's Edmonds hitting in the cleanup spot, hitting .269 on the year. Takes a fastball low and away for strike 1. Cardinals center fielders hitting .269, 5 home runs, 27 RBIs. 1 for 6 in this series. Foul ball and strike 2. Jose Lima was an all-star back in 1999. That was pitching at the Astrodome. Then he went into Enron Field, now Minute Maid Park, and he was one of those pitchers that just seemed to be psyched out by the dimensions of the ballpark and never really regained the form that he was in the late 90s. He was terrific with Houston.
He was probably the poster boy that first year for what everyone thought was going to be the big pitching problem ballpark. Those pitchers have turned that around, haven't they?
Sure have. Edmonds reaches for it and pulls it foul. Think about ballparks that psych out some of the pitchers. Certainly Coors Field probably #1 on the list, and at the time Houston's ballpark. And after the first couple of games in this ballpark, maybe some of the pitchers thought about that too. Here's a 1-2 pitch. Edmonds looks at a ball outside. We had Mike Shannon on the pregame last night. He feels that this will be a hitter's park. Now the wind is slowed down considerably from even just 10 minutes ago, but with this being an open stadium, he feels the ball is going to fly, especially when it heats up. A little too early to tell. We just don't know until we get probably a full season under our belt. Tony has told me in the past he feels that this is going to be a fair ballpark, and he thought people overlooked the Old Busch Stadium. He said when it got hot in there, the ball flew pretty well.
It always flies well down the lines. In every ballpark.
When caught Castro, he's going to shake that thing off, and the umpire's going to help him out. Take his time, maybe dust off the plate. Josh is going to help out with some new baseballs too. Right on cue, Al.
Oh yeah.
Home plate umpires Tim Welke. Kerwin Danley is at first. Gary Seedemstrom is at second. Jim Reynolds at third. Edmonds will dig back in, a count of 3-2. Swing and a miss, got him to chase. First strikeout in the ball game. There's 2 outs, and it's up to Scott Spiezio. Jose Lima went from being an all-star to being out of the game of baseball. Matter of fact, back in '03, he was pitching for the Newark Bears of the Independent League. He signed a minor league contract with Kansas City, got back to the major leagues. And he signed as a non-roster invitee with the Dodgers. He went 13-5 that season. And last year he was up and down from the minor leagues to the big leagues with the Dodgers. He was pitching in the minor leagues with the Mets, and now back in the majors with New York.
Talking with Tom Glavine and Billy Wagner yesterday, it bears repeating. They said if they were going so bad and they had to resort to that hairdo, they would just quit.
You're not a fan?
I said Wagner and Glavine
Okay.
said they'd quit.
I'm asking you, are you a fan?
Oh, absolutely.
Me personally,
Can't
I
wait
am not.
Can't wait to go on the Cardinal cruise so I can have my hair braided.
Your old haircut, you would have been able to. The new haircut, no. Unless you start growing it out now. Of course, you have the facial hair of Scott Spiezio, and that is his natural color there, Al, on his chin. I don't know if you knew that.
Yes, it is.
Then you've got that. 2-2 pitch. You were downright giddy when Dustin Hermanson was here.
The facial art.
That's right. He's now a World Series champion, part of the White Sox team. Count is 3-2 on Scott Spiezio. Making a start at first base today with Pujols on the bench.
Long first inning for Lima. You'd sure like to drive in at least one more run.
Runner at second is rolling. The 3-2 pitch. Down the left field line, slicing out of play. Long road trip coming up. Will begin tomorrow night in Kansas City. That game will be on FSN. Chris Carpenter and Mark Redmond. And it's off to San Francisco to meet up with the Giants and Matt Morris, Mike Matheny, Barry Bonds. Off day next Thursday. Then we're in San Diego. Spiezio rips it into right field. That's a base hit. Roland being waved in. And it's 2-0 Cardinals on the RBI by Scott Spiezio, his 13th.
I think a lot of people were happy that Spiezio was given the invitation and came late, kind of a late addition towards spring training. But the job he's done, you couldn't envision him coming off to this type of start. Down into the corner and drives in another run.
Check swing and a strike on Encarnacion. Initially, when Scott Spiezio thought about coming back to the major leagues during the offseason, he thought he was going to have to make it as a backup second baseman. But man, has he been versatile for Tony La Russa early on. This one is popped up. Foul territory. Carlos Delgado will make the catch. Cardinals strike early here in the first inning. RBI by Rolen, his 20th, and the 13th for Spiezio. 2-0 St. Louis. Who's Raising the Bar is brought to you by Singular. Where will Roger Clemens end up this season? The Yankees, Red Sox, Rangers, Astros on the couch. 42957 to text your answer. Our Singular wireless question is Scott Rolen has made it 1-0. Scott Spiezio 2-0 after one inning of play here at Busch Stadium in St. Louis. The Hendricks brothers, who represent Roger Clemens, say he has really picked up the pace of his offseason regimen, and he should be just about ready to go here in about a week and a half to 2 weeks. And whoever gets him, Al, I think it's a blessing in disguise to get him late, because if you look at how he pitched at the tail end of last season, he was kind of out of gas. And you eliminate the first 2 months here of 06, and you get him ready and hungry, and his body is ready to roll. Mentally, he's ready to roll. And you might be getting the most dangerous free agent in baseball.
Well, that's part of the philosophy of taking this time off, that he'll stay strong through the stretch run and postseason. And I think, isn't it true, they're increasing the activity just to see if his body will respond,
right,
and he wants to play.
My gut feeling tells me, and we visited with the people in Houston last time we were there, that he will wind up there simply for the fact that the best deal will be on the table money-wise, and also they feel just for his family and the way that he wants to set it up, where he can just fly in on the games that he's pitching and stay at home and be around his kids. As Delgado rips it into right for the first base hit for the Mets on the afternoon. You would figure that would be his best position, but he also said he wants to play for a winner, and that means Boston, that means New York, and that probably means Houston will be in the thick of things as well. Leadoff single for Delgado. Now it's David Wright.
And the going rate will be between $3 and $4 million a month.
Not bad if you can get it. Mets finished up last year with David Wright, third base, Jose Reyes at short. And these two guys piled up games played and innings played. And a young combination on the left side of their infield. Wright is 23. Reyes is, what, 21 or 22 now?
Some outstanding young talent in the game, you know, and it's a lot more teaching at the major league level because players are rushed to the big leagues.
Comes an 0-1 pitch by Marquis outside. David Wright hitting .313, 5 homers, 25 RBIs. He had the bases loaded, 1 out last night against Isringhausen, and Izzy struck him out. Then he got Cliff Floyd. As Willie Randolph saw his club have a chance in the ninth against Mark Mulder, who was absolutely terrific last night. One of the best outings of the year.
I think it was by far his best outing, and arguably his best outing ever by a Cardinal. Or while he's worn the Cardinal uniform.
4 hits and 8 1/3. He's now 5-1 on the season. Pitch upstairs by Marquis.
That 1-0 shutout against the Houston a couple years, last year, but
that was against Roger Clemens.
yeah, have to equal or rival it.
2-2 the count on David Wright with Cliff Floyd on deck. Long look by Marquis. It's a full count. One thing that the Mets have been able to do early on is play well against Atlanta, their longtime nemesis in the National League East. If you're going to win it, you got to go through the Atlanta Braves.
And I don't think you can ever look at where the Braves are in the first half of the season and discount them.
4.5 games out. Philadelphia is 2 games out. Wright pops it up right side. Spezio will give it a look near the Cardinal dugout, out of play.
And it was a week 10 days ago. Then Atlanta was like 8 games
right
out.
New York beat them in a 14-inning game at Shea, and that put them 8 games out.
Yeah, 25 pitches thrown by Marquis, 13 balls.
Another 3-2 pitch by Marquis. Foul back. New York leads the East by 2 games over the Phillies, 4.5 in front of Atlanta. Washington 11.5 games out, Florida 12.5 back. Philadelphia, after seeing the Cardinals' first series of the season, got off to a terrible start. They're playing some of the best baseball in both leagues. 7-3 in their last 10. Again, it's fouled back by Wright.
About Philadelphia, remember how bad they were, their home record? Now they're 1 game over 500 at home. 12-11 now.
They played well within the division, 10-5, and that will quickly keep you in the thick of things in your division. Now the 3-2 pitch by Marquis. We're off to your old stomping grounds, Kansas City, tomorrow night. I'm sure a lot of our Cardinal fans will head down I-70. 9 pitches in this at bat for David Wright. The 3-2 coming from Marquis. Popped up. Foul territory. Jason's going to win this battle. Spezio calls for it. And he makes the catch. Kansas City Royals own that first overall pick the upcoming draft, and there was no clear-cut number 1, although they feel there's a pitcher out of North Carolina, a left-hander named Andrew Miller. And this lefty has pitched very, very well. 6'7", 210-pounder. And many feel that he will be the number 1 overall pick to the Kansas City Royals. Here's Floyd hitting 198. Play behind Carlos Delgado at first base. Tony La Russa was asked about this over the weekend. Why does he play behind these runners? He said it's very simple. He said we just feel, after doing decade after decade of our charts, that with a left-handed batter like this, and in particular a pull hitter like Floyd, we're going to play behind that runner. Now we still try to keep him fairly close, but we feel it just takes away that hitting lane, and more times than not we're going to have success by playing behind with a left-handed batter up. Not all teams do that.
Well, and you still can keep that guy close to where he can't just take off and run blindly. Play behind him, you feel the presence. Some base runners are even more concerned about the guy because he's not where they can see him.
Two balls and a strike on Floyd. Montreal and Boston. Now with New York. With Florida for a while. Floyd with only 3 home runs. Ground ball to Spezio, goes to second, and gets the lead runner. Now that's not an easy play on that little chopper. It wasn't all that hard hit to Scott Spezio, and for a guy that doesn't play first base every day, made it look pretty easy.
Anticipation, knows what he's going to do. It. It's a tough play for a right-handed throwing first baseman. And anytime, whether it's a second baseman or a first baseman, one of the ways you measure them in a play like that is, will they take the risk and get the lead man? Keep that man from getting in scoring position. You always help your team.
That's Ramon Castro, the former Marlin, with 2 outs and a runner at first. First pitch is a ball by Jason Marquis. Cardinals lead it 2-0 on RBIs by Scott Rowland and Scott Spezio. Rowland is hitting in the 3rd spot in this lineup today with Albert Pujols on the bench. A day of rest for Albert. Just the 10th time we've seen Rowland do that. That's off the mask of Gary Bennett. So Rowland moves up to the 3rd spot in the lineup. And thanks to Brian Bartow, we find out just the 10th time he has done that. Brian Bartow, the Director of Media Relations with the St. Louis Cardinals. Check on the runner at first. That's Cliff Floyd. Jason Marquis got off to a very good start, winning his first 3. At Philadelphia 4-2. Against Milwaukee, then at Pittsburgh. And he lost 4 straight to Chicago, Washington, Houston, and Colorado. And bounced back with a win last time out against Arizona. Now he is receiving the lowest run support on the Cardinals starters, but he gets an early 2 spot here today.
Just everything is a struggle for him. It just seems like, maximum effort on every pitch. Doesn't really know how to take a little bit off.
Here's a 2-1 pitch. Outside 3-1, and again Marquis falling behind.
It's like every other pitch. Ball, strike, strike, ball.
Not a good ratio. 18 balls, 19 strikes. This will be the 24th pitch in this inning by Jason Marquis. The 3-1 to Castro. Runner is going, and again it's popped up behind home plate. Bennett with room, and he makes the catch. Mets strand a man. Bottom of the 2nd coming up with the bottom of the order for St. Louis. This is the new Busch Stadium, along with Al Rabosky. I'm Dan McLaughlin. The Cardinals have a lead of 2-0 against Jose Lima. Cardinals played well here at home, trying to make it 18-7 with a victory today. Gary Bennett to lead it off, and the first pitch is in there for a strike by Lima. RBIs today from Scott Rowland and Scott Spezio.
Cardinals came home for this 9-game homestand against 3 very good clubs and have a chance to be 6-3, win all 3 series with a victory here today. I think Bennett's getting more playing time than he thought he would get.
He's played well. He has hits in each of his last 4 games. Scored and driven in a run in 3 of those 4.
A 4-game hitting streak. 5 for 17 during that time. 4 for 13 on the homestand.
Tony La Russa will tell you what they're looking for in a backup is a guy that can handle the pitching staff I'm not so sure they felt that way a year ago with Einar Diaz, but Gary Bennett, they feel very comfortable with him behind the plate defensively. And his catcher's ERA, something you don't hear a lot about, is 2.95. He's worked well with the staff, Al.
Yes, and they like his creativity, calling a game. But you're right. Usually in a backup, you're asking a guy to have the ability to catch and throw.
Don King threw out our first pitch and made an appearance on the pregame show. Championship fight returning to the Savas Center with Corey Spinks, the St. Louisan. Did you have a chance to visit with Don?
Yeah, you hear it call out the Mad Hungarian?
I did, Al.
Yeah.
I wasn't sure if you had a visit.
Oh, we had, we negotiated a fight one time.
Meeting of the minds, the Mad Hungarian with Don King.
74 years of age and still got high energy.
I would too if I was getting paid what he is. Ground ball by Bennett, taken by Jose Valentin. And it brings in the switch hitting Aaron Miles. It's good to see that they're able to bring a championship fight back to St. Louis. I don't know if you had a chance to see the first one.
I was
Corey
there.
Spinks.
I was there ringside.
Were you really?
Yep.
That was some kind of event.
And Corey has been training a lot more for this one. That had some extenuating circumstances, and I think in many ways, and that was also the largest attended indoor fight in the history of North America.
Right.
With
Kevin
22,000.
Kevin Cunningham is his trainer.
Talked with Kevin too for a while. Good guy. And very, very well thought of in the industry.
2 balls and a strike on Miles. And Miles shoots this one out to right center field. That could be trouble. Chavez won't get it. Off the wall. And Miles is on his way to second base as he was bidding for his first home run of the year. That almost got out of here.
First extra base hit for the Cardinals today. And Miles has been a nice surprise. Ball missing on the inner part and just belt high, and he belted it up off the wall out in front of the Cardinals bullpen.
And it brings in Jason Marquis, a chance to help himself here with the Cardinals leading 2-0 in their half of the second. Marquis is hitting 190 on the year. No home runs, 1 RBI.
Silver Slugger Award winner from a year ago. They're pitching him a lot tougher this year.
Native of Long Island. 1-0 pitch. 2-0. David Eckstein on deck. Career high 27 hits a year ago. 24 coming as a pitcher. 3 as a pinch hitter. At 10 RBIs. More times than not, Al, he'll make at least contact and kind of just slap the ball and put it in play.
And
he can drive it
he
too,
can
but a
drive
lot
it,
of times
yeah.
he'll just slap it and keep it in play.
he had about 10 doubles last year, a triple, home run. This year it seems like he's pulling off a lot of pitches.
A grounder hit to short. Reyes stays down on it. Marquis retired. Miles moves up to third. And it's up to David Eckstein with 2 outs. This state baseball history brought to you by Schnucks. Dave Stewart breaks a major league record by committing his 12th balk of the season. May 18th, 1988. I'm sure Tony La Russa and Dave Duncan saw many of those.
Yeah, we don't think about that one.
No.
We think about the resurrection under Dave Duncan of Dave Stewart. He's kind of a journeyman spot starter, middle long reliever, and turned him into a terrific 20-game winner a couple times.
Eckstein singled his first time up. It was a ball that he hit down the third base line, slowly hit, just kept on rolling, and David Wright no other play but to just see if it would go foul. It did not. And Eckstein would score on an RBI base hit by Scott Rowland. 1-2 the count. Room in the left center field in front of the Bud Light sign. And the outfield very shallow for the Cardinal leadoff man. Eckstein into right field, and it's another 2-out base hit for the Cardinals. And an RBI for David Eckstein, his 10th, and it's 3-0.
10th RBI for David Eckstein, and tough to defend him. They had the right fielder probably more shallow than any place else, but uses those hands to perfection. You pitch him away, he'll go that way. You turn the ball inside on him, and he's one of the quickest at turning on a ball. That's just flat out good hitting with those 2-out base hits.
Yeah, when you think of the team leader in hits, first name that comes to mind obviously is Albert Pujols.
Yeah, but it's Eckstein.
It's David Eckstein now with 51.
And also the team leader in multi-hit games.
17. Eckstein is running a throw down to second. Safe at second as the ball scoots on by Reyes. Stolen base for David, so he wondered how the Cardinals would play this with Castro behind the plate. No Albert Pujols in the lineup. Would they be more aggressive at the top? And the answer is yes.
Well, a good throw would have had him. Bounce there. The glove came up a little bit and allowed Eckstein to get underneath the tag. But also you got the 3-run lead. You know, you got 2 outs here, so put him in scoring position so Rodriguez can maybe drive him in with another 2-out base hit.
1-0 pitch to John Rodriguez. Check swing and a foul back. 1-1. Two outs and a runner at second, and a 1-1 pitch. Well, he's leading the Cardinals, and with 2 more hits today, he is second, along with Lopez and Ramirez, in hits in the National League, and just 1 back of Matt Holliday of Colorado. That pitch misses outside. The more I watch David Eckstein, the more I just don't understand why Anaheim let him go.
Sometimes this game, people want to dwell on what they say you can't do instead of thinking of all the good things you can do.
You win a World Series with that guy playing shortstop. Obviously, it's a tough position to do it in, and he played very, very well. He does everything that you ask. He's not a problem off the field.
He's a problem on the field. He's a pest.
Yep.
Get underneath your skin, does all the things, but
here's a 3-2 pitch.
What you could do is you could take whatever name's on the front of David Eckstein's jersey and replace it with the simple word of winner.
Hard-nosed player. Tony La Russa says one of the toughest, if not the toughest, he's ever been around. Eckstein, the runner at second, and a 3-2 pitch. Rodriguez grounds it to the right side. A little hesitation there by Floyd, and he guns it past Lima. And a run is going to score. You can just see that happening.
Yeah, what kind of a BB did he throw there?
And Lima just stared back at his first baseman and didn't understand why it was gunned at him. So an error is committed that time, and it's 4-0 St. Louis.
Just a nice little easy, and then he fires the seed right at his pitcher, who's kind of running over there, expecting, had plenty of time just to get a kind of a nice, easy little throw, chest high. Well, I mean, he's throwing his best fastball at him.
Now it's Scott Rowland. Second run scored of the afternoon by David Eckstein. 4-0 Cardinals.
You know, when you're struggling like Lima and you're just trying to hold on, You need a little help from your friends.
Exactly what the Cardinals needed with Marquis on the mound. Give him this early lead. They're going to give an error on Jose Lima on that play as they make a correction. Well, I think it's the wrong one.
Yeah, that's somebody who's never been on the field to realize that you can't throw the ball that hard to somebody covering like that.
You could see Delgado was hesitant even to go over and field it. He was kind of just tiptoeing over by the ground ball and by the second baseman. And once he got there, he just threw a seed to his pitcher, Jose Lima. 2 balls and a strike on Scott Rowland. He has an RBI and a run scored back in the first. Another pitch upstairs, 3-1. Lima just trying to get out of the bottom of the second. Scott Rowland, 91 career games against the Mets, and he's got 63 RBIs. He's no stranger to seeing the Mets after his time with the Phillies in the National League East. Another 3-2 pitch. Got him to chase. A strikeout number 2 on the afternoon for Jose Lima. Cardinals add to their lead with 2 more runs, and it's 4-0. Back healthcare appreciation nights. All healthcare industry employees can purchase discounted loge box and pavilion box seats when the Cardinals face the Astros on Tuesday, May 30th, and the Reds on Tuesday, June 6th. You can purchase your tickets at stlcardinals.com. Click on appreciation nights icon and enter the password healthcare. Here's Indy Chavez, former National. Jose Lima was on deck, was awfully upset as we went to break. You can see he still is upset.
How would you know? He's just talking to himself all the time.
Yeah.
You're talking about those appreciation games. You can purchase outfield loge box seats for just $25. The regular price is $34. Or pavilion box seats for just $20, with the regular price being $27. Online at stlcardinals.com.
Chavez slaps it out to left, and backing up John Rodriguez for the first out.
And got a lot of them come up. You know, you got banks and credit unions, you got teachers and staff, police, firefighters, EMS, restaurant employees, healthcare, auto dealers, and car care. And they all got a password. Get those seats.
Here's Jose Lima with 1 out, nobody on. Showing bunt and takes strike 1. Just joining us, Albert Pujols not in the lineup today. Albert with the day off before we head to Kansas City. You know, Lima would love to stick around just a bit longer, Al. He's got 9+ years of Major League service time, and the magic number is 10.
It's really changed. When I first got into baseball, you had to have 5 years of Major League service to become eligible for the Players Association. You maxed out at 20.
Things have changed. FSN Baseball Report tomorrow night, covering every team all season long. Highlights, interviews, and analysis you won't get anywhere else. The FSN Baseball Report tomorrow at 6. Then we've got the pregame show at 6:30, 7 o'clock between the Cardinals and the Kansas City Royals. That was the first strikeout of the afternoon for Marquis. We're back to the top of the order, and Jose Reyes. What an exciting young player this guy is.
He really is. Fly. Hit a home run to center field the first game of the series.
He gave a bundle of money to Kaz Matsui to play shortstop. Came over from Japan, and they found out they've got a better player in their system in Jose Reyes.
And remember, Reyes had all those problems with his legs,
hamstring
problems, but got an unbelievable arm, great range at short.
Here's a 2-1 pitch. And a fly ball out here. Backing up Eckstein, he'll call for it, and he makes the catch. A 1-2-3 inning for Marquee. Edmund, Spezio, Encarnacion due up for St. Louis on a gorgeous day here in downtown St. Louis. It's 4-0 Cardinals. Live action, this is Edmonds, and Lima gets another hard thrown ball by Carlos Delgado covering first. That was not easy. And that one is a little bit harder than that catch that Lima just had to make. Look at this.
Yeah, the Millennium Hotel, they're just moving their sign over a little bit just so it'd be in line with the new ballpark. I'm sure those workers
guys
up
are real
there
happy about it,
appreciate
too.
it. I think we got to do a broadcast from up there.
Good luck. We'll make that one of the Joe Buck games. I think you and Joe should go up there and enjoy yourselves. Of course, Timmy will be alongside. You know that.
Will we know it?
Hold on, Al. I'm about ready to lose my cookies.
It's a little windy, too, remember? Well, we saw a guy walking earlier. He was walking up there without the safety harness, wasn't he?
Oh, no. He had a safety harness on.
Oh, he did?
Yes.
Oh, well. Keep OSHA happy.
Spezio has an RBI this afternoon. We need to find out who those two are and hand them a Hungo Award right now. I don't care what anybody does on the baseball field today, tomorrow, next week.
Sorry, you've been overruled. Not good enough.
That's not good enough?
Nope.
Delgado will take it himself, and Jose Lima says thank you. 2 outs. Maybe Big Dog can solo, maybe just shoot those guys up there and then pan back and show exactly how far away they are. Are you telling me that doesn't deserve a Hungo?
No.
Now Willie Randolph is getting into it with the home plate umpire.
It's a beautiful day. You're trying to give a Hungo Award to these guys. Maybe Willie Randolph is trying to earn it. Jerry Manuel there. A lot of finger pointing.
Got his money's worth, too. Well, apparently Manuel did get tossed. What are they arguing about?
Whether those guys should get the Hungo Award. Tim Wilkie thinks he deserves it.
I assure you those two are not stealing signs.
Relaying to the Mets or the Cardinals.
Nice work down there by Jose Oquendo. One and two the count on the Cardinal right fielder Juan Encarnacion. Popped out to first time up. I thought getting up there with the lights was high enough. Hit out to right. This will be taken by Chavez, and the Cardinals go 1-2-3 for the first time this afternoon. Valentin, Beltran, Delgado coming up. 4-0 St. Louis. Aflac trivia question this afternoon. 4-0 Cardinals as Jose Valentin will dig in. Who owns the Cardinals record for the most runs scored in a season? And speaking of runs scored, there's the man that is just possessed with it behind Yadier Molina. Albert Pujols. He's got the afternoon off. 4-run lead for Jason Marquis and the Cardinals. Numbers 2, 3, 4 in the order for New York. And for those of you that do not live in St. Louis, we know we have a lot of viewers outside the St. Louis area. Front page of the St. Louis Post-Dispatch headline, Pujols to the world, I'm clean. As he was meeting with reporters yesterday and addressed steroids in the game of baseball, what Barry Bonds goes through, his age. And to me, he was in a no-win situation when addressing those types of issues, Al. I mean, if he comes out and backs Bonds, a lot of people think Bonds cheated. So they'll say, why do you back a guy like Barry Bonds? And if he comes out and bashes a guy like Barry Bonds, and what does the Players Association say to Albert? What do his peers say to him? He's in a tough spot. I mean, he's certainly one of the central figures in the game of baseball, one of the stars in this game. And to me, I get more people that come up to us on the road and want to talk about Albert Pujols than they do about Barry Bonds. I think there's more intrigue with this guy than there is with anybody else right now in the game of baseball.
What I like most about the fact you said, hey, test me every day. I don't have anything to hide.
I think it's great.
You know, I'll welcome it.
Think about Albert Pujols. When you look at him, I don't know about you, but to me, he hasn't changed from day one when he got to the big leagues. He is the same. I mean, he's a big man. He's not chiseled. He's not a hulk of a man. He's just a big, big guy. And he always has been that way, and he's always been strong.
And I think he's becoming more and more comfortable with his star status.
Yes.
And we were impressed from day one, and we're becoming even more impressed in this time where everyone wants to be me, me, me. It's about team, team, team. He knows he's a big part of the team, but he's a team player and #1 cheerleader.
It's Carlos Beltran. 1 ball, 1 strike. Beltran was hitting home runs or driving in runs a year ago. It seemed to be when Pedro Martinez was on the mound and nobody else. You see the outfield is straight away and pretty deep. Beltran gets into this one out to deep right field. Encarnacion is back, looks up, and it's gone. Carlos Beltran with his 10th home run, RBIs 24 and 25, and it cuts the lead in half. It's 4-2. Parlayed that great postseason against the Cardinals into 100 million plus. He's in his 2nd year in New York, and they're expecting big things from this guy, Carlos Beltran.
Ball up, out over the middle of the plate, gets the arms extended and drives the ball into the seats. Not where they wanted it to be.
Now it's Delgado. It's 4-2 St. Louis here in the top of the 4th. A walk and then a 2-run homer. Delgado singled to right field first time up. Fastball catches the outside corner. A ground ball sharply hit to Aaron Miles from the outfield grass. Delgado retired for the first out. I guess the shame of it is, though, Al, the fact that if anybody puts up numbers, all
you
of
have
a sudden,
to defend yourself.
That's right. In the back of your mind, you know, if you're a fan, you wonder, is somebody clean?
That's one thing I've always said is if you're a record holder or in, dramatic pursuit of a record, and the home run would be the biggest one, and you're clean, I'd be screaming from the top of my lungs, how do I defend myself?
Exactly. Here's a 1-0 pitch to David Wright. Say what you want about Canseco, but that book has changed the game. The way that baseball now has to take a harder look at steroids and try to clean it up. Broken bat. And it's hit out to center field. Edmonds is there. There's 2 outs, and we take a look at the Aflac trivia question with Cliff Floyd digging in. Who owns the Cardinals record for the most runs scored in a season? Rogers Hornsby, 141 back in 1922.
By the way, Albert Pujols' highest run total is 137.
Going into last weekend, Pujols was on a pace for 199 RBIs. No one has had more than 165 since Hank Greenberg's 183 back in 1937. Hack Wilson, 191 back in 1930. Beltran's home run, 390 feet.
Ever see a picture of Hack Wilson?
No.
I think he was like 5'6", 5'7". But you talk about a guy that was 5'6", 5'7", and looked like he was probably about 220. He was short, stout, just stocky's not quite the word.
1 ball, 1 strike. Floyd grounded into a fielder's choice first time up. Speaking of Bonds, we'll see him next week in San Francisco. Will he have equaled the Babe or passed him? We're still behind him. One of the problems with Bonds right now is that Moises Alou has been injured. And Moises Alou was providing some pretty good protection behind Bonds. He was putting up good numbers.
It seemed like this last 8 days or so prior to last night, it seemed like he's been getting 2 or 3. It was 1 for 3, 0 for 2.
He's getting pitches to hit.
Yeah, he's getting pitches. Another walk. Bennett go out and talk to Marquis, who.
It's number 2 in the inning, number 2 in the game for Jason Marquis. 4-2 Cardinals with 2 outs, runner at first. Here in the top of the 4th, and it was walks that caught up with Jeff Suppan the other night.
It seems like a lot of times he's out there overthrowing, or if he gets mad at himself and gives up a hit or something, then he tries to come back and throw even harder.
Here's Ramon Castro with 2 down. Castro, first time up, popped out to the catcher. His counterpart, Gary Bennett.
Marquis is. Fans here having a little fun, youngster, but came into this game with 21 strikeouts and 21 base on balls. Got 2 walks today, 1 strikeout.
It's pitch number 70 coming by Marquis. Well hit out to left center field. Edmonds is there, calls off Rodriguez and makes the catch. Mets strand their second runner of the afternoon. On a gorgeous day here from Busch. Cardinals lead it 4-2. To Chase Bauer, this year's area winner of the Briggs & Stratton Diamonds in the Rough essay contest. Chase won his baseball field in Old Monroe, Missouri. $5,000 worth of refurbishments and is now eligible for the $20,000 grand prize Visit BriggsDiamondsInTheRough.com and vote for Chase Bauer. Gary Bennett, Aaron Miles, and Jason Marquis for the Cardinals, leading 4-2 in their half of the fourth. Bennett grounded to second first time up, and it's 1 ball and 1 strike. Atlanta leading Florida. That's 3-1 in the fourth. Phillies have jumped out to a 3-0 lead on top of Milwaukee, also in the fourth. Pittsburgh leading Cincinnati 7-6. That's in the sixth. Washington and Chicago just underway. Down the left field line, has a chance to leave the ballpark. It's hooking and foul. Bennett thought he had a home run, which would have been his first as a Cardinal.
He was hoping.
Just a long strike, 1-2.
How foul was it? Not that far.
A ball and 2 strikes on Gary Bennett. 4-2 Cardinals here in the fourth. Bennett is seeing more and more playing time as this season moves forward. Seems like he's the personal catcher for Jeff Suppan, and with the struggles of Molina, why not give Gary Bennett maybe a little bit more time? The 2-2 pitch. Grounder hit to short. Reyes is there, gobbles it up. Across the diamond to Delgado for the first out. Looking forward to headed to Kansas City after the ball game this afternoon. The Royals, another terrible start at 10-27. They're 15 games back in the American League Central Division. 10-27.
8-8 at home, 2-19 on the road.
Aaron Miles doubled off the wall his first time up. Cardinals weren't even sure if Miles would come north with the team once his spring training started. And he has been very good, hitting .311, no home runs, 6 RBIs. Well, Jocketty saying the other day that Junior Spivey has really disappointed even at AAA and has not hit at all with the Memphis Redbirds.
Still, he's really not doing anything, can't figure it out. But, well, we'll also tell you that prior to the signing of Spivey, that he was pretty comfortable with Luna and also Miles competing for that job in spring training.
Called third strike. Strikeout number 2 on the afternoon for Lima. The best damn sports show period, the greatest nightly sports show on television tonight at 10:30 following the Midwest Sports Report. And coming up tonight, boxing great Oscar De La Hoya, poker superstar Mike Sexton. 10:30, it's the best damn sports show period. Here's Marquis, 3 strikeouts now for Lima. Strike 1 on Jason. Grounded to short first time up. Rounds it to the second baseman, handled easily in a 1-2-3 inning for Jose Lima. It's 4-2 as we head to the 5th. Is brought to you by Bud Light. Cardinals and Royals tomorrow. And in that game, it'll be Chris Carpenter making the start for the Cardinals. A record of 3-2, an ERA under 2, 1.98 against Mark Redman. Redman 0-3 on the year with an ERA just over 6. It's 4-2 St. Louis. Here in the top of the 5th as Jason Marquis finishes his warm-up tosses. Along with Al Raboski, Dan McLaughlin with you here in St. Louis. But a breezy afternoon. But gorgeous. Indy Chavez will lead it off for the Mets. 70 pitches thrown by Marquis this afternoon. 38 strikes, 32 balls. Rolling in on the grass with Chavez and his speed. Good play by Marquis, hopping off the mound for the first out.
He's a very good athlete. Jason Marquis is very athletic. Fields his position, swing the bat, do so many things. But I think one thing that's a little frustrating is usually at this stage of your career, you figure out what you are as a pitcher. And here he gets the ball very quickly and shoveled pass over to first.
Could be a quick inning. Spezio, he's got it. Lima retired. 2 pitches, 2 outs.
And that's what Jason Marquis needs to do, is pitch to contact. He's not a strikeout pitcher. He's a ground ball pitcher with that good sinker.
I think what you might be concerned with today, 8 fly ball outs.
Well, and that's what I'm saying. He needs to go out there and just kind of, you see the first 3 innings, he's kind of trying to figure out what's going on. Then he kind of settles in. After 7th inning, he's just never around because his pitch count's so high.
That ERA that's over 6 in the first 3 innings that you just saw in that graphic. And Tony La Russa said it's a case where Marquis is almost hyper in the first couple of innings and trying to settle him down.
Well, what I'm saying is a lot of guys come up and they want to be everybody wants to be a strikeout pitcher. He's not a strikeout pitcher. He should be a ground ball pitcher. So instead of going out there and trying to retire hitters in the first, second, or third pitch, he's out there trying to make perfect pitches and pitching behind him in the count all the time. Just throw that sinker, let him hit it, but keep it down to where it's a ground ball.
The 2-0. Marquis has walked 2, both of those coming last inning. Struck out 1. That was Lima back in the 3rd. Mets with just 2 hits, but one of those a 2-run home run by Carlos Beltran. Ground ball. Miles will have to be quick. He is. Reyes retired. A 1-2-3 inning for Jason Marquis, his 3rd of those 1-2-3s in this game. Top of the order coming up. It's the Midwest Sports Report and the Busch Light Sports Report as well. Cardinals post-game coverage and all the highlights from around the major leagues. Top of the order for St. Louis. It's a 4-2 lead in the Cardinals half of the 5th. Eckstein, Rodriguez, and Rowland. No Albert Pujols in the lineup today. Day off for Albert. When is this guy going to get a day off? David Eckstein. A workhorse.
Late October.
First time that he's been retired this afternoon. He's 2 for 3 with a stolen base, an RBI, and 2 runs scored.
That's 8 in a row retired by Lima.
And it brings in John Rodriguez. When Rodriguez is not in the 2nd spot in this lineup, the numbers are not good. It's combined with the other hitters outside of John, in the number 2 spot, under 240 is the batting average. Figure it's got to be the most coveted spot in baseball, hitting in front of Albert Pujols. Albert on the cover of Sports Illustrated and the St. Louis-based Sporting News this past week. Tough play, the shuffle to first. Rodriguez is safe.
Base hit. Very close play. They look like the Valentin and Delgado both object. Couldn't get anything on his flip.
He's out.
Bang, bang play. Mets think he's out, but
I do too.
The only one that counts is Dantley, Kerwin Dantley, the first base umpire, and he says safe.
There's Scott Rowland. He has struck out last time up. Picked up an RBI single and scored a run back in the 1st. Lima flips it over to Delgado.
Had a lot more time, but made it very athletic.
There's 2 outs, and it brings in Edmonds. Good play here by
dive
Lima.
for it. It's hard to do. And have it go somewhere in that direction. He's also going, Delgado, see, that's how you throw it when you're 30 feet away. Throw it, can't throw it too hard.
He zipped a couple over at Jose. Edmonds over 2. Struck out swinging back in the first and grounded to first in the third. A wrapper has found its way onto the playing surface here at Busch Stadium.
Just wonder what Edmonds' career numbers are against Lima. Remember when talked a little bit about it when they opened up Minute Maid Park, and Edmonds was just on a tear. There you see, I thought it had to be a little bit lofty.
Lima, of course, at the time with Houston. Edmonds acquired back in March of 2000. 2-0 pitch. Shoots that one foul for strike 2. Jimmy has seen his average climb to 264 with 5 home runs, 27 RBIs. Outfield deep and straight away. Lima has struck out 3 on the afternoon. Cardinals have out hit the Mets 6-2, lead at 4-2. Lima went full count last time with Edmonds. Or rather, his first time up and got him to strike out. He chased a pitch on the outside corner.
That's what he can get you to chase some pitches.
The 3-2 pitch. Pulled foul.
Got Jim to chase one that first time. Got Scott rolling. Chase one.
Jose Lima approaching 100 pitches on the afternoon. He's at 94 and we're only in the 5th. Another 3-2. Edmonds fouls it back on a good cut. Wind is really blowing from left to right. It's just gusting out there.
Just don't remember it being so windy downtown, period. Let alone in this ballpark. Right where we have our Helitech studios, they have that opening right there that allows for the wind to shoot through.
First walk handed out by Lima. And it brings in Spezio. He picked up a 2-out base hit and an RBI back in the first. Cardinals have 2 of those.
Rick Peterson, the pitching coach, is going to come out and talk to Lima as they're scrambling down in the Mets bullpen.
Omar Minaya has spent a lot of money, but you look at the everyday lineup, Al, of this Mets team, and it is much improved over what we saw a couple of years ago. You wonder about their pitching. They've got a great closer in Billy Wagner, and that lineup is very, very good.
Chad Bradford and Pedro Feliciano. Pedro, the lefty, Bradford, the right-hander. And well, they got three starters on the disabled list right now. Get one of their young kids back, but they didn't want to rush him in this start. Still got Pedro and Glavin that are pitching masterful in that rotation. much improved offensive ball club.
Check swing and a strike on Spezio. I think Glavine is a lock for the Hall of Fame. I don't even think it's up for debate.
Well, I agree with you because he's going to get 300 wins. 19 away.
I think even if it ends right now, I think he's in. 281.
There's been guys that have won more that are not.
Bert Blyleven comes to mind.
Jim Cott is real close to that too, and also 16 Gold Gloves.
I think with each case, so you have to look at the era in which they played, and certainly 300 you're in, but Tom Glavine pitching in the steroid era. Ball's jumping all over the place. He's the last of a dying breed, those 300 game winners.
Randy Johnson has got a shot. Messina after that.
Messina, and then starting to get into guys that are around that 200 mark. Pedro Martinez is there.
You may not see any for a while.
Yep. Strike in there. 3-2.
You need to take a little walk as it.
I thought a couple of times the other night, you pointed out during the telecast, Glavine got that wide strike zone, in particular on the strikeout of Edmonds, but strike zone is shrunk and he's trying to make the adjustment.
Well, you know what he's doing now is he's getting people out inside.
Spezio, a little bloop over right, fair ball, 1 run in. And Scott Spezio hits a perfectly placed ball over the head of David Wright, about 2 feet inside that line down third base, and a run scores, and it's 5-2.
That was the biggest blast you'll see in the paper tomorrow. Won't do justice when they describe this ringing double. Opposite field, just you could not have placed a ball more perfect. And with the runners going, it was an easy run, and he ends up at second base. Edmonds over at third, and that's a knockout blow as they're going to bring in the right-hander, Bradford.
And we'll step aside. Willie Randolph will make that move. Another RBI for Spezio, his second of the afternoon.
This call to the bullpen brought to you by Chevrolet. And this copyrighted telecast is presented by the authority of the St. Louis Cardinals, LLC, and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. And the accounts and descriptions of the game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the St. Louis Cardinals, LLC. Now, the Cardinals got a little luck, and tough luck for Lima, as Chad Bradford will come into this ball game. His 18th appearance, sidearm thrower, and Lima on the verge of being 0-3 and couldn't last 5 innings in this ball game. A game that some think could be his last for a while at the big league level. They're going to take one of the young kids off the disabled list, put him back in the rotation. But how much damage will be done? Bradford will be pitching, but Lima's 2 runners are out there at second and third.
Bradford was with Boston a year ago. He was 2-1. He's been with Oakland and Chicago in the American League. So all his time prior to this year was spent over in the American League.
Right-handed batter is about 229 against him for his career.
Works on the first base side of the rubber. And slings it up there. 1 pitch, Encarnacion rounds out, strands 2, but Scott Spezio with 2 RBIs, and the Cardinals lead at 5-2. If you're still looking for Cardinals baseball tickets, the newly renovated Hilton St. Louis at the ballpark brings you winning Cardinals baseball packages. Choose from 2 packages, both with Busch Stadium view rooms and a free make-your-own Fred Bird from the Build-A-Bear Workshop at Busch Stadium. For more information and reservations, visit HiltonSt.Louis.com. Marquis back on the mound with a lead of 5-2 for the Cardinals. Valentin, Beltran, and Delgado. Now this is a situation that he faced back in the 4th, and he would walk Valentin, and then Beltran would belt a 2-run home run.
So Tyler Johnson warming up in the Cardinal bullpen.
Looking ahead, you've got Delgado, of course, who will appear in this inning, and possibly Cliff Floyd. Well hit into right, Encarnacion back, and he's got room to make the catch.
Tyler.
Cardinals Al will have to make a move coming up as Anthony Reyes is going to get called up from Memphis to make the start on Saturday for the Cardinals, and then obviously they're going to have to make a move.
Yeah, and then Tyler's very much in that equation, or one of the right-handers. Do you keep 2 left-handed relievers down there, or do you go with one?
Here's Beltran. One point, the Kansas City Royals had Carlos Beltran, Jermaine Dye, and Johnny Damon in their outfield.
And couldn't keep any of them.
Got to spend a little money. Beltran grounds it foul for strike 2.
Be interesting when we go over to Kansas City to find out how they got the legislature to approve, what was it, $250 million for the sports complexes to upgrade them.
There's talk of putting in a rolling roof for the Chiefs Stadium and Arrowhead and the Royals ballpark, and the idea was if they did that, they would bring in a Super Bowl to Kansas City.
Well, they initially,
that was the idea a long time ago.
Yeah, when they first built the 2 multi-purpose, or the 2 stadiums, there is a track that is in the parking lot between Arrowhead and Kauffman Stadium that was going to, house a retractable dome that would just slide back and forth over one venue to the other, and then leave it in the parking lot on nice days. So I guess they're trying to resurrect that so they can get a Super Bowl.
A broken bat. Spezio coming on. He's going to make the catch. He also had to avoid the bat. Good play by Scott Spezio. Let's go pitch by pitch, and this is brought to you by your Mid-America Chevrolet dealers.
Go out there, sinker it down away, gets it up a little bit, getting the high strike. Just like to repeat it. Time he tries to foul off the good pitch, and there he gets inside, maybe a little cutter there that jams him, saws him off.
See the barrel hydroplaning towards Scott Spezio. Took a little concentration to make that play.
Well, it was far enough to his right, and the ball was in foul territory, so hopefully he didn't see it, but he didn't act like he saw it.
Quite a shift here for Delgado. Cardinals have used this in the series with Eckstein on the second base side of the bag, and then Miles in the outfield, basically, and Spezio on the outfield grass as well. The most pronounced shift that we have seen in baseball this year is David Ortiz and what the Yankees have been doing with him. I mean, the second baseman primarily is playing like a shallow right field. Even back about 10 steps further from what Miles is doing it. A base hit still in right against that shift. Second hit for Carlos Delgado.
Tyler Johnson, after 2 outs, was kind of just watching the Delgado at bat. But now with Cliff Floyd after David Wright, he'll start heating up a little bit.
Wright is popped out and flied out, 0 for 2. You're talking about the young rotation that the Mets could have when healthy. And there has been one thing that a lot of fans and media have given the Mets heat about is Victor Zambrano. for Scott Kazmir, who's now pitching in Tampa Bay. Foul territory, Spezio calling for it. He's got it. Marquis is through 6. Bottom of the 6 coming up. Bottom of the order for the Cardinals. Cardinals lead at 5-2 in the bottom of the 6th. St. Louis 5-7-0. The Mets 2-3-1. Dave Duncan talking with Jason Marquis. Marquis is due up third in this inning. The only activity has been Tyler Johnson out in the bullpen for St. Louis. 5-2 Cardinals, and Gary Bennett will lead it off. Bennett 0 for 2 with a pair of groundouts. Told that Charlie Manuel, the coach for the Mets, was ejected by the third base umpire, not the home plate umpire. We still don't know the reason. Jim Reynolds down there at third. Side winding. Bradford almost hit Gary Bennett. 1 ball, 1 strike.
We understand Bannister, the young starter that almost made this start in place of Lima, got hurt in his rehab today, and so Lima may get a reprieve.
Jose Lima goes 4 2/3, allows 5 runs, 4 of those earned, 7 hits, 1 walk. He struck out 3, no home runs allowed. Here's a 2-1 pitch. Boy, Bradford really stands on the first base side of the rubber and just slings it up there. He's about as far as you can get over there.
Submariner. That see why he has success against right-handers, because he releases the ball. Looks like he's throwing it in their middle of their back. Off-speed pitch out away from Bennett. Had a rip at it. I've seen guys do that submarine, but then get on the third base side. Then it really looks like he's throwing and releasing the ball behind the back of a right-handed hitter.
2-2 the count. I'm sure tomorrow night we'll catch up with your buddy, the Hall of Famer George Brett.
Hope to.
I don't think he has missed a Cardinals Royal Series when we go up there.
David Glass has promised those major changes, but we haven't seen any yet, right?
Nothing yet.
The Royals owner.
Well, if I'm some of the owners around the major leagues and I'm paying into the luxury tax, I would question an organization like Kansas City and wonder where some of that money is going. Is it going into your product where it's supposed to, whether it be free agents, the minor leagues, player development, whatever the case may be? Is that's fouled by Bennett, or is it going into your pocket?
Owner's got to make a salary too, and family.
Good mouths to feed, Al. I was talking with Ozzie Smith yesterday, the Hall of Famer, and Ozzie was telling me that he, along with George Brett, with the voice that they have with some of the members of the Hall of Fame, trying to drum up support for Whitey Herzog. As Whitey's still on the outside looking in. Leadoff walk to Gary Bennett. This week, the Fox Saturday Baseball Game of the Week returns as the Cubs take on the White Sox. Interleague play begins. Coverage begins Saturday at noon, only on Fox. Nice touch by the ownership group with the Hall of Famers out there. Much better.
Added on this homestand, and we wonder what other changes will be when we come back. We know all the seats will be filled to capacity. That'll be nice.
Aaron Miles 1 for 2. He doubled off the wall and right first time up. See if the Cardinals want to be active against this pitcher.
Usually they Submariner is slow to the plate.
Fires it over to first. Sack is good, 1-4, and it brings up an RBI opportunity for Marquis. Bennett moves to second. See those retired numbers on the wall out left, and you got to wonder about another 42. That would be Bruce Sutter, who's headed to the Hall of Fame as a Cardinal. You wonder about his number being retired. Marquis just gets a piece and fouls it back. What about even a guy like Whitey Herzog having his number retired here at Busch Stadium? Of course, there's been support for Willie McGee.
Yeah, you're stirring everything up, aren't you?
We're only in the sixth. Plenty to talk about. Here's the 0-1 pitch.
Just floated up there.
Wind is now blowing from right to left and blowing out.
They got the end up on the Millennium. So.
Just outside to Marquis. 1-2 the count.
Not a bad pitch.
Bradford's best year was with Oakland a couple of seasons ago.
Usually this type of pitcher, you know, they're very successful against right-handed batters, but lefties get a good look at the release point.
1-2 the count on Jason Marquis. Runner at second is Bennett. Bradford finally comes set. Here it comes. He got him. Right down the middle as that one tailed back in. And Marquis strikes out. That's the second out. And it brings in David Eckstein, the Cardinal leadoff man.
Submariner out there, and look at how that ball just moves. I used to watch Quisenberry when he first came up. And at Royal Stadium, you would sit in the back of the bullpen. You'd sit there, and you could just really watch the guys throw behind you. And it was amazing what his ball would do throwing underhand. But it's a more natural release point. And you can get the ball to move, rise, do all kinds of silly things.
That's why they say in softball, girls can go game after game after game, and it's an unnatural motion to throw overhand.
Sure.
So,
you know, I mean, just walk down the street. Your arms swing below your waist. You know, lifting your arm over your head is abnormal.
"5-2 Cardinals here in the sixth." 0-1 pitch to Eckstein. Grounded fair down the third base line. Bennett can just walk on home. David Eckstein, a 3-hit afternoon. And he makes it 6-2 Cardinals with an RBI double. And it's another 2-out RBI for the Cardinals today.
Second one for David, second RBI. He's got an 11 on the year, and that is a big insurance run. Come in there. David just turns on it inside the line, and now with Rodriguez, the left-handed hitter, coming up, they'll make a pitching change and go to Feliciano.
So that's going to be it for Bradford. Willie Randolph, second time to his bullpen this afternoon. We'll tell you about the change when we come back. It's 6-2 Cardinals. It's brought to you by Chevrolet. This will be the 13th appearance for Pedro Feliciano. He has been terrific this year for the Mets. .82 ERA. And the Cardinals, who have John Rodriguez due up, will counter now with Sho Taguchi. His right-handed batters are just hitting 3 for 19 against Feliciano. So Rodriguez is done for the afternoon. Sho Taguchi will be the pinch hitter with the runner out there at second base. That's David Eckstein. And Feliciano in relief of Corey Bradford. Now, Feliciano has retired 10 of 12 first batters he's faced, and he is not allowed a run in 11 of his 12 outings. Out of the Dominican Republic, 29 years of age. Last year he pitched in the Japanese League. First pitch outside to Sotoguchi. Cardinals will pinch hit for Rodriguez in this spot. Still, they don't feel very comfortable, Al, with him going lefty to lefty.
Well, I think it's also situation too. This is the point in the game where you put in Taguchi for defense. So it's just a win-win situation for Tony La Russa and the Cardinals. I think Tony feels that, you know, J-Rod, and we've seen him have good at-bats against left-handers, but this kind of sidearm wielder, it's you keep Taguchi sharp. You're probably going to put him in for defense. And so I think Tony welcomed this change.
Long look, and here comes a 1-2 pitch to Sotoguchi. Taguchi lines it up the middle, but it's going to be caught by the second baseman, Valentin. Cardinals add to their lead with an RBI double by David Eckstein. It's 6-2. Busch Stadium sold out on this afternoon in downtown St. Louis. 6-2 Cardinals. Sotoguchi takes over in left field for John Rodriguez. And Jason Marquis pitching into the seventh with a 4-run lead. He's allowed just 3 hits. This doesn't seem like it's been an easy 6 innings, though, for Marquis. But you look up, he's got this lead. At the left center field, it's going to be taken by Sotoguchi. 1 pitch and 1 out. That'll help him along the way as Floyd is over 2 with a walk.
Jason had 7 innings, 3 hitter allowed his last start. But it's like you said, you know, the first couple innings, you kind of labor, you struggle a little bit. That pitch count has really changed dramatically, you know, because he was way up there
early.
Yeah.
Here's Ramon Castro. Chicago trailing in their game against Washington. 4-0, that's in the 4th. Cincinnati leads Pittsburgh 9-7 in the 8th. Atlanta is pounding Florida 8-1, that's in the 7th, and the Phillies on top of Milwaukee 4-1 in the bottom of the 7th. One pitch, Marquis to Castro. Cardinals have out-hit the Mets 8-3, and they picked up key RBIs this afternoon. A bunch with 2 outs.
A lot of game with 2 outs, RBIs.
It's pulled. Oh, what a play by Scott Rowland as that ball came up on him. Wow. Took a tricky hop, it looked like, at the end, and he stayed with it.
Yeah, nice little play right there as the ball kind of took a wicked hop at the end, comes up on him, but soft hands into the glove, and then the arms throwing it out over there. Chavez up. Scott's playing in on the grass.
Andy Chavez talking with Rick Hummel about Scott Rowland yesterday and the fact that he is considered one of the top defensive third basemen all time. And he said, I don't think I've ever seen a more accurate arm from third base on those plays down the line, and what he's able to do on the backhanded plays in particular, and when he throws off balance. He's in on the grass a couple of steps with Chavez. He tried to bunt his way on earlier today. He's also flied to left 0 for 2.
Matsui is at the on-deck circle if Chavez extends the inning.
Here's a 2-1 pitch. Out to right center field. Encarnacion is there. A 1-2-3 inning for Marquis. To 2 St. Louis as we move to the bottom of the 7th. Our FSN Midwest pitch-by-pitch feature, the X-Men 3. And here it is. It's Lima against Scott Rowland.
He's going right after him right there. A couple fouls back, and then gets him to chase the ball off the plate. They're coming up 26th.
It's our X-Men 3 pitch-by-pitch. X-Men, The Last Stand, opens in theaters on May 26th.
Oh, man, can't wait.
We're in the 7th at 6-2 Cardinals. Michelle Lewis is today's merchandise winner in the Hyundai Long Drive Inning Sweepstakes. If the Cardinals hit a home run in the 7th, Michelle qualifies for the Hyundai Sonata drawing in September. To register, visit a St. Louis area Hyundai dealer. Feliciano in a second inning of work as he retired Sotaguchi to get the final out in the 6th. It's Scott Rowland here, then Edmonds and Spezio. Now, you're right before when you said that Sotaguchi takes over, not just because it's a righty-lefty matchup, but because of defense. At what point, though, does Tony La Russa start giving John Rodriguez a chance to hit against left-handed pitching and be an everyday fixture in that number 2 spot in the lineup? I think that's one of the questions that they are facing right now as Rowland is sawed off. Feliciano covering it first for the first out here to start the bottom of the 7th.
Good question, and I'm not too sure right now that Tony's thinking in that direction. Sure, you'd like to have an everyday left fielder. Everyone would like to have a set lineup, but it does allow him to have the flexibility to get at bats and move guys around and keep them sharp.
Which is something he loves to do.
Sure. Most guys that, if you were a star player, they want all, 8 position players to be stars and have them out there day in and day out. If you had a career like Tony La Russa, a bench kind of guy, they like to have the versatility and move guys around and have that 1 or 2 positions to where they can keep guys sharp.
Strike 2 on Edmonds. Feliciano off to a good start in this game and off to a good start in 06. Set up way outside, trying to get Edmonds to chase, and it's 1-2. Jimmy today has walked, he struck out and grounded out. Come your way tomorrow with the FSN Baseball Report at 6. Pregame 6:30, 7 o'clock first pitch. The Cardinals and the Royals. The Royals will actually make a visit to St. Louis this year. Final in the major leagues. The Royals lose again. Cleveland 6-5 over Kansas City. Swing and a miss. 2 away.
Day for David Eckstein. Good day for Spezio. And 5 of the Cardinal hits for the RBIs.
Cardinals knocked out Jose Lima after 4 2/3. Spezio pulls his foul. There was Bradford. He went an inning, gave up 1 run. Lima gave up 5. 4 of those were earned, and now it's Feliciano. 0-1 pitch. Spezio has seen his average climb to 283 with 3 home runs, 14 driven in.
Has as many RBIs as Encarnacion. And a lot less playing time.
Think about it, if the Cardinals could hold on, they do it without Albert Pujols in the lineup.
Sure, and give Albert that day of rest. You know how he just crushes Kansas City Royals pitching. Being rested on top of it, yeah.
Maple Woods Community College. Two balls, 2 strikes. Little check swing by Spezio. The Cardinals go 1-2-3. We head to the 8th. St. Louis leads it 6-2. Raising the bar, brought to you by Singular Wireless. Where will Roger Clemens end up this season? The vote goes to the Houston Astros.
Not on the couch. That was middle of the road.
That's going to take a while to move that Millennium sign. They've got the N up. Here comes the second N now, Al.
Probably do it a lot faster if we declared them the Hungo Award winner.
A little extra motivation, I'm sure.
Comes with that large cash prize.
Here's Kaz Matsui. So we start the 8th. Cardinals lead it 6-2. Matsui's hitting .247. Some of the hot dog wrappers floating around in center field. What's been a very windy day here at Busch Stadium. Curveball is slapped foul. Mets have a left-hander getting loose in their bullpen. No activity for the Cardinals. And their bullpen is Marquis has thrown 100 pitches. Not a very good ratio, though. 59 strikes to 41 balls.
That's Darren Oliver warming up in the Mets bullpen.
Seems like it's been a struggle for Marquis, but then you look up and he's only allowed 3 hits. And 2 runs, and those 2 runs back in the 4th off the bat of Carlos Beltran with a 2-run homer.
There's Darren Oliver. Father Bob Oliver was a big leaguer.
Here's a 2-2. Grounder hit to second. Matsui retired for the first out. Cardinal fans, if you travel, you want to watch the Cardinals, best way to do it is check it out on your PC at MLB.tv, and you can find out more at STLCardinals.com. Randy Flores getting loose, the Cardinal left-hander, along with Tyler Johnson out there. And this is Jose Reyes. Rolling in on the grass. Reyes pops it up and out of play. Jose today is 0 for 3, and that's such a key when you take on the Mets, keeping this guy off the base paths, as he was the stolen base champion in the National League a year ago. He got a key steal the other night, too. Here's an 0-1 pitch. Reyes shoots it out to right center field. On the move, it's Edmonds. Jimmy's got it. Reyes is frustrated. He's 0 for 4 on the afternoon.
nobody does it sweeter than Jim Edmonds with that great jump. Key is you don't reach up until the last second. You reach up there too soon, it impedes your progress. And a lot of times if you see a guy like Jim Edmonds reach up early, it's to deke a base runner to make him think that he's going to catch it, but he knows he has no chance.
2 outs, nobody on, and now it's Valentin. He got a good jump.
Pretty how they glide to the ball and get there and then know that they're going to have the timing down.
We've talked about it before. Edmonds has not had a great offensive start, but still, how do you replace the kind of defense that he provides on a daily basis?
And I think people look at it and they say, okay, what are you going to do with his option? You pick it up because where are you going to replace the center field? You know, as you say, just a pure center fielder you can't replace.
That is smoked out to deep right field. Encarnacion is turned around. He looks up. It's off the top of the wall. And it should be a home run as it hits off that Washington University sign out there. And it's a home run by Valentin. Cuts the lead to 6-3. His second on the year. That thing was scorched.
It's a line drive that Encarnacion or no outfielder has a chance to get back on. See the glove out over the plate. There's the carom off. It went off the Washington University position sign. And so the second home run allowed on the day in 9th and 10th home runs that Marquis allowed. But what a great job he does going 7 2/3 innings.
Randy Flores coming in, 6-3 Cardinals. 6-3 Cardinals here in the top of the 8th with 2 down. Randy Flores taking his warm-up tosses. Our game recap is brought to you by Jack in the Box. Scott Spezio playing first base this afternoon. He's a story with a couple of RBIs along with David Eckstein. He's got 3 hits. Home runs caught up with Jason Marquis as he allowed 2 of those. A 2-run shot to Beltran and a solo home run just moments ago by Jose Valentin. And Marquis goes 7 2/3, 3 runs allowed, all earned, 4 hits. He walked 2, he struck out 1, and gave up those 2 home runs. Now it's 30-year-old Randy Flores appearing for the 15th time this season. One of 2 Cardinal lefties in that bullpen. The other, Tyler Johnson, he was getting loose earlier today. And it's Flores to turn around Carlos Beltran. 6-3 St. Louis. Beltran with a 2-run home run back in the 4th. Popped out to first, popped out to short. This one off the end of the bat. Encarnacion is there. He'll back up just a step or 2. Puts it away. Flores gets Beltran. Bottom of the 8th coming up. Back at Busch Stadium, Al Hrabosky, Dan McLaughlin, and our Bud Productions crew as the Cardinals have a lead of 6-3. You can't decide what jersey to wear when you come to the ballpark. You just put all of them on.
On that T-shirt there. Darren Oliver takes over his 12th game. He's had a rough road trip as he's been touched 1 game, a third of an inning, and an ERA over 27 during that time. Has pitched a bullpen season high 4 innings of relief. Had 6 strikeouts on May the 6th.
And a breaking ball to Juan Encarnacion to start the bottom of the 8th. Darren pitched in St. Louis for part of the season in '98, all of '99, and he went 9-9 that year. Couple of stints with Texas. He's been with Boston, Colorado, Florida, Houston, and now the New York Mets.
Left-hander with a heartbeat. And a breaking ball.
Mentioned the son of Bob Oliver, former major leaguer who played with the Pirates, the Royals, the Orioles, and the Yankees. He played for 10 seasons in the big leagues, and Darren has played over 10 seasons in the big leagues. Randy Flores will bat because coming up first in the 9th, Carlos Delgado. Isringhausen getting loose in the bullpen. Encarnacion retired. He's 0 for 4 on the afternoon. Izzy picked up save number 12 last night, and he was fantastic. See, his confidence is growing by the day. 6-3, and here is Bennett with one out in the bottom half of the 8th. Gary walked and scored on the RBI double with 2 outs back in the 6th. The bat of David Eckstein. He has also grounded out to short and grounded to second, 0 for 2. Hit to Reyes, so backhanded, fires over to first. 2 away. This week, Fox Saturday Baseball, game of the week, Cubs and White Sox from the Windy City at noon. The MLB game of the week on Fox.
Joe Buck will be doing the Yankees at Shea Stadium against the Mets.
He should set up residence in New York as many times as Joe is called to go do that game. Pitch inside to Miles. We thought we were going to get a chance to see Randy Flores hit. Now it's Hector Luna to the on-deck circle.
Yeah, I was going to say, you know, even if the spot got up there and Delgado is, you know, a left-hander, he can't beat you with a 3-run lead. So most closers want to come in and start the inning.
1-2 the count on Miles. Doubled and scored back in the 2nd, struck out in the 4th, sacrificed last time up. Oliver thought he had a called 3rd strike. It's 2-2. Back in '99, it was Darren Oliver leading the Cardinals in innings pitched. Little tapper, good play by Oliver, throws on the run, a 1-2-3 inning. Delgado right and Floyd coming up. Izzy coming in. Cardinals trying to take 2 of 3.
Coming up after the game on the Busch Light Midwest Sports Report, we'll have Jeff Gordon taking your phone calls and emails. We'll also go to Tony La Russa Live and Cardinal comments from the clubhouse. It's all following the game.
All right, Tom, thank you. 41,273 here in attendance this afternoon. Isringhausen coming on for the 17th time, and he has picked it up after a sluggish start. He has saves in each of his last 6 outings and 8 of his last 9. And he is closing in on Lee Smith, the all-time saves leader. Izzy with 152, Lee Smith with 160. It's 6-3 Cardinals. You can't say enough about the job that Jason did last night.
I was going to say probably the toughest one he had all season was last night, where he entered the bases loaded, 1 out, and a 1-0 game, and preserved that. Retired both men. The first one, David Wright, by a strikeout, and then Floyd with a ground out to first.
There's a tough part of the order to deal with here in the 9th. 6-3 Cardinals. Starting off, it's Delgado. Carlos 2 for 3 with a couple of singles. Isringhausen in relief of Flores, who's in relief of Marquis. Marquis goes 7 2/3. Only 4 hits allowed, 3 runs. All of those earned. A 2-run shot by Beltran back in the 4th. A solo home run by Valentin. That one at 93 miles an hour. Izzy was telling me, Al, that this has been about as healthy as he has been in maybe 3 or 4 years. He feels terrific physically.
First time in a while going to spring training. Wasn't rehabbing from a surgery. hip's got to be that much better. His arm seems like it's sound.
He says he knows that if he's getting hit or things aren't right, it's mechanical, because at this point physically he feels terrific. 1 ball, 1 strike. Delgado pops it up. Spezio coming on, calls off Bennett. Foul territory, and he's got it. Hot pitch of the game brought to you by Hardee's. We take you all the way back in the third. This is the only strikeout of the afternoon for Jason Marquis. A tailing fastball to Jose Lima made the start for the Mets, and that's your Hardee's hot pitch of the game.
That kind of shows that strikeouts are overrated. Now, the one that Izzy got of David Wright last night was a time when you needed one. Bases loaded and 1 out.
1 out, nobody on. Wright showing bunt, takes a ball. Of course, Isringhausen began his career with the Mets. And when he played junior college baseball at Lewis and Clark Junior College, the St. Louis area, he was an outfielder, center fielder. Again, one thing you can't teach, and that's a good arm.
Last night I was talking with Joe Buck about there were so many pop-ups in the game. Today there's a whole ton of foul pop-ups. Just an indication of how your ball's moving. Hitters don't really center the ball, and they just get underneath it, not really seeing it right. It's just moving, getting a little piece of it.
The 2-1 pitch to Wright. Look on the first scorecard and win for Tony La Russa in his Cardinals career. You'll find it's against the New York Mets, and you go all the way down to that 9th spot in the lineup for the Mets. And a guy named Isringhausen made that start for New York. Funny how things come full circle.
Sure, that is interesting.
Here's a 2-2 pitch. Isringhausen has a very good cutter when it works, Al, and when it's on, it's not in that league, I don't think, of the Mariano Rivera, but who is, but it's a good one. Here's a 3-2 pitch. Ball 4. 1 out walk to David Wright, brings in Cliff Floyd. And Floyd right now just doesn't seem right. Getting under 200, he's better than that.
Well, he got a couple hits first game of the series. You can see 4 for 14 off of Izzy. He made the final out last night, and he could duplicate that right here, hitting that same ground ball to Spezio and letting him turn 2.
See, I just don't understand this. Look how far Spezio is playing behind the runner.
He could take off.
Just take second base and get that double play out of the equation.
Yeah, I mean, it's, because, as you said, what happens, he hits a ground ball and turns 2 when they're almost giving you the opportunity to take a base. It would be an uncontested steal. Sandy Alomar now, senior, is going to talk to David Wright. You just wonder if that's what he's saying. Hey, if he's giving you that much, go ahead and go.
He's a good 15 feet behind him. It's a short lead, too, by Wright for a guy playing that far behind.
Didn't want fastballs in and out. Didn't want the changeup. And it looks like the curveball. He's going this time.
The 0-2 pitch. Drilled out to Wright. Encarnacion stepped in over his head now. Right to second. Wright on his way to third. He'll be held up there. And the tying run will come to the plate.
That was a rocket.
Encarnacion took a false step in. I don't know if he would have gotten a good jump on it anyway if he would have gotten to it. It scooted over him, and it's a double for Cliff Floyd. And that's what I was talking about before. Normally the ball just jumps off his bat like that.
Yeah, I don't think there's any way he would have gotten to it, but there you see Wright running on the pitch, making sure that it gets down, stepping on the second base bag, but that was just a rocket, that ball right at you, the toughest for an outfielder to judge. And the Mets are at least going to make this very interesting. Nobody warming up the Cardinal bullpen. Activity for the Mets if they extend this to the bottom of the ninth.
Runners at second and third. Castro is swing and a miss. Ramon Castro is 0 for 3.
Adelman, the young righty, warming up. Castro looked overmatched right there, but Izzy may not have had his adrenaline flowing. He does now.
He's talked about pitching in these situations, just like last night. Bases loaded. If it's the matchup he likes, he doesn't mind it. Out to shallow right center. Edmonds calling for it. He's got it. Right is tagging up. He's going to stop. Strong throw by Edmonds. Cardinals in out away. Much easier for Jimmy to come in that way instead of Encarnacion going across his body trying to throw if he couldn't get behind it.
Well, and I'd just take.
I'll take Jimmy over anybody.
Yeah, I'll take his arm and his accuracy. Encarnacion's got a fine arm for right field, but Jim's 8-time Gold Glove winner and the accuracy.
Now Chavez 0 for 3 on the afternoon. Pitch is taken for a ball.
This little guy, you don't worry about the long ball, but he can fly.
Outfield is shallow. Shade him a bit to the opposite way. Strike one. We'll be in Kansas City tomorrow night. Cardinals trying to take 2 of 3 here from New York. They're dropping game 1, winning last night 1-0, leading here in the ninth 6-3.
Franco on deck.
The 1-1 pitch. Strike 2.
Well, not that we want to manage for Willie Randolph, but you almost wonder why Nady didn't pinch hitting here, or Franco
or LaDuca.
And I mean, you could put Nady out in right field where Indy Chavez is playing, and they got the power to hit it out of the ballpark.
Crowd on their feet. The 1-2 pitch. Little tapper. Isringhausen over to get it. He's got to hurry. Throw to first. Got him. Cardinals win it. 6-3 the final. Marquis picks up the win. Isringhausen picks up the save. Today's play of the game is brought to you by Budweiser. The defense behind Marquis was very good this afternoon. As Al mentioned before, 8-time Gold Glover Jim Edmonds with a good play in right center off the bat of the leadoff man Jose Reyes, and he took an extra base hit away. Cardinals take 2 of 3. We'll wrap it up in a moment. 6-3 our final. Those 3-5-1 for the Mets, and the Cardinals, Al, wrap up a very productive homestand.
Well, that's it. You had 9-game homestand against 3 very capable opponents. They win all 3 of them. They're 6-3 on the homestand, and things keep on looking good. They have not lost a series at home.
Cardinal Baseball is produced by Bud Productions and an exclusive presentation of FSN Midwest. Next Cardinals broadcast tomorrow night from Kansas City will come your way at 6:30. Final score today, 6-3 in favor of the Cardinals. Midwest Sports Report is coming up. For Al Verbosky and our Bud Productions crew, I'm Dan McLaughlin. We'll see you tomorrow night in Kansas City.
Welcome to this Cardinal post-game edition of the Busch Light Midwest Sports Report live from Busch Stadium. I'm Tom Ackerman from KMOX. The Cardinals win it 6-3 over the New York Mets. And coming up, Jeff Gordon of STLtoday.com and KSLG Radio will join me to take your phone calls and emails. We'll also hear from Tony La Russa live from his press conference and check in with the Cardinal clubhouse. Right now, Jim Hayes standing by with Scott Spezio on the field at the scene, sponsored by Ace Mortgage.
filling in for Scott Rowland when Rowland was down. Now Pujols gets spelled for a day. You get a couple of hits, a couple of RBIs. It's got to feel good to contribute.
Oh, it does. You know, a lot of guys were joking when they announced my name at first base. I'd get booed because Albert wasn't in the lineup. So it was nice to get to contribute, get some RBIs, and Marquis did a heck of a job out there.
In terms of this series, you take 2 or 3 from the Mets. Do you guys look at this as sort of a barometer because they're the best team from the NL East?
Well, you know, every team we play, we go out there and focus and try to win. And we don't really look at the name on the uniform. We just go out there and try to beat whoever we're playing against. And, you know, it's still early in the season. Later in the season, it might mean a lot more. But each win is very important to us right now.
Scott, thanks for the time.
You got it, anytime.
Send it upstairs.
All right, Jim, thank you. 6-3 our final this afternoon here at Busch Stadium. It's another Cardinal win here at home, and that's been a consistent theme this season. And, Al, if you're going to win and win the division and get into postseason play, you got to set the tone at home.
Yeah, they're playing 500 on the road, and they're winning 2 out of 3 at home. That's a nice combination, and I think we'd like to think they're going to improve on the road also. But this is a team that's very resilient. It's based around pitching. And today, even without Pujols, we had enough offense.
And it was the combination of 2 former teammates in the American League now here in St. Louis. It was Scott Spezio, who we saw in our star of the game, and David Eckstein, and he was setting the table this afternoon.
Well, David had 3 hits. He had a couple RBIs. You know, he leads off the game here with that little slow roller. But then he started doing damage. This is out to right field, drives in a run, I thought. And then here's where he drives in a second RBI.
And another difference here today, this afternoon as well, was Jason Marquis. Now, you look at how he goes about it, and for a while it was about 50-50 with that ball-to-strike ratio and seeing how he was going about his business. But then you look up at the end of the day, it's close to 8 innings, only 4 hits allowed.
Yeah, I mean, you know, it's the last time out, you know, the first 2 innings, a lot of people would give him 0 odds that he goes 7 innings and only allow 3 hits and almost matches that type of performance. You know, he's got very, very good stuff. It just kind of, you have to start wearing him down a half hour before he starts to warm up or whatever the deal is. He's strong enough to where he can go deep into a ball game, but he should be a big winner, and he wins again today.
All right, we're off to Kansas City. It's Chris Carpenter tomorrow night, 6:30 with the pregame. We send it back over to